Hello, beautiful people. I can see everyone seems to be doing very well today. I am here in my kindness colors, living my life in color in sunny Barbados. I can see where you guys are all from, and I am super excited to be here and host the first half of Kindfest USA. We are going to have 7 amazing speakers talking to you today, sharing their kindness stories. And we all really need kindness. I think so. I really do believe so. So, as we go through each talk, I want to see what you're thinking and feeling in the chat. So, let's keep that very active, keep it going. When you are excited and happy about stuff, I want to see a yay. Yeah. I want to see that. If things are too heavy, think of my beautiful little elephant here. He's going to help us get through some heavy times, because I'm sure that while kindness is going to be in the space, we're going to have some pretty heavy moments, and that's okay. We're here to be vulnerable together. So, why don't I get started by telling you about our first speaker? Our first speaker is Karen Rodriguez La Paz, and she is the head of diversity and inclusion at Purple. She's also the founder and CEO of Code in Color, which I think is absolutely amazing. Teaching people how to code, I think that's very important. She's an expert in helping organizations improve company cultures, which means she's all about kindness. So I want to welcome to the stage Karen Rodriguez as she tells us her kindness story on the gift of purpose. Hey, Karen, over to you.
Hey, thanks so much, Julie. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here. Well, let's get started. This is such a phenomenal and fantastic day. And I just want to thank every single one of you for joining today, taking time out of your day to have some phenomenal discussions surrounding kindness and, most importantly, the topic in mind, which is how to find purpose in giving back, right? A little bit about me and how I would like to start the story is that we might not all know why we are brought into this earth. Everything that we go through in life tends to have a purpose. And so it's very difficult sometimes for us to identify exactly what that purpose is. And that's exactly what happened to me. I grew up in New York City. I was not the most privileged child. And by that, I mean, I grew up in a very rough situation. I experienced homelessness. I lived through some very, very tough times as an undocumented immigrant in the United States. And I always had this passion and this belief that I could essentially make the world a better place and especially make the world a better place for my family, right? And so a huge part of that was, how do I achieve that? What is it going to take for me to be able to make a difference if I don't have the necessary tools to be able to do it? So I went around my life, probably from 10 years old to, I don't know, about 20, 23, 24. I'm 27 now. And I always thought, what am I going to do? And in 2017, I wanted, I knew I wanted to inspire people through some type of education. So what I did was I started mapping out this concept, this idea of creating a school in which we would connect young, underserved populations with tech education. The reason for that being that I knew that the way to give back and the way to uplift my community was to engage them in a way that would help them be financially stable. And I started creating this concept, right? But I had no idea what I needed to do in order to achieve that, to get there. And hugest, biggest blessing in my life. In 2018, right at the beginning, about March of 2018, this young fella came up to me at my job and said, "Hey, I am an independent filmmaker. I am going around the world filming a show, just a documentary about my journey solely relying on the kindness of strangers. I'm going from Alaska all the way to Argentina, relying on the kindness of strangers for my food, my gas, my stay, if my car breaks down, right? All of those things. Would you be willing to let me sleep over at your house? And it was so, I mean, I can't even explain to you how cold it was that day. It was about probably 20 degrees Fahrenheit at nighttime, and he would have had to sleep in his little buggy. It was like super broken up, right? Like it was a broken down car. And I said, well, I don't want you to sleep in your car. That sounds miserable. That sounds really terrible. I will let you sleep in my home. And after I did that, essentially I just said, hey, look, I will, allow you to come and sleep over at my house. I'll allow the same thing for your partner. He had two folks, one person that was carrying just a mic, and then another person that was filming. And I said, how about we go out for dinner? So I took him to dinner and he started asking me questions about my life. What was your upbringing like? Right? What kind of things do you do? At the time, I was working to serve the homeless population, and I was sharing my story, and I told him, look, I work with the homeless. This is what I do. I connect them with multiple resources. I advocate for them, not only in the state legislature, but also at the national level. That's part of my job. And he said, did you realize that, you know, essentially you give back through your work every day, probably because you went through a similar experience where you experienced homelessness as a child, where, and I'm so sorry, I'm choking up, where you didn't know when you were going to eat next. You didn't know what you were a child and you were experiencing such hardship. And essentially now through your work, you're trying to give back because you don't want other people to experience that, which is such a difficult thing. And that was a wake up moment for me because I didn't realize that that is what I was doing. So when we made it back to my house, I set up a lovely office. I turned it into a room for him to stay. And I said, look, anything you need, I will give it to you. And he comes back to me and he goes, actually, I need us to sit down. And I need to tell you the truth. So I'm not an independent filmmaker. I'm actually a well-known filmmaker, and I'm actually here with a show on Netflix called The Kindness Diaries. And whenever I meet someone who really touches and inspires my heart with their story, I give back to them. And I would like to give back to you. And what he did to give back to me was he said, I'm going to give you two gifts. The first is you said that you want to work on education and that you want to give back, not just here in the US, but also in other places around the world. And so the way that I'm going to first give back to you is I am going to send you to whatever country you want so that you can go and serve the community in that country. And I got to do that in 2018. I got to go to Costa Rica and serve young young kids, young adults actually, with different abilities, and pour into them and help them, as they're trying to go back into school and be connected with jobs. And then the second one was, he said, I'm going to help you start your charity. And that's how Code and Color got started. And what a blessing, right? I started with this by saying that we might not know what our purpose is. My idea of my purpose was that I would be pouring into people's hearts, especially through education, to help them be able to feel so much better, but also be financially stable. And today, because of the kindness of that person's heart, right? I'm able to do that. We've been able to serve over 15 students that we placed in real high paying jobs. And those jobs are over $65,000 a year. The average African American household in Utah makes about $41,000 a year, which, if you live in the US and a lot of other parts of the world, you can probably deduce that that's not a lot of money. So the impact just in 1 year that we were able to make just in 2019 is helping these families break that mold and make so much more money to be able to secure the financial stability for their families. So where do we go from here, right? And what's the inspiration? What do I hope for you? The inspiration for us is to continue to expand that and turn that into a big academy where we're able to give back to all different people, right? And inspire them to be better and inspire them to enter into a tech force, which a lot of people think that is intimidating, but I can assure them that they are smart, that they're important, and that they are absolutely capable of being their best selves and give back to their community. My hope for you today, as you go through these conversations, is to think about your purpose. Think about what it is you want to do. And if you can, connect with as many people as possible and be kind to as many people as possible, because you never know who is there listening, who can pour into you, pour into your purpose, pour into your plan, and help you make it happen. I hope that you have a phenomenal day today. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time.
Thank you so much, Karen. I was trying to turn my camera on and having a little struggle because I myself was sitting here choking up just listening to you. What a powerful story you have, and what an amazing inspiration you are. And
Thank you.
coming from where you came from to being where you are right now in this particular moment, what a gift you have given all of us attending this session today. What a way to start Kindfest USA. And I
Thank
I
you.
really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you were, I know as you were sharing your story, people were sharing in the chat. I am now connected to you on Instagram. I found you on LinkedIn. I think everyone was trying to find a way to connect with you. Words came up like, mighty, how strong you are, how powerful this is, how amazing you
Thank
are.
you.
I'm just going through the chat and just sharing so many hearts, so much love that was given to you as you shared your story, Karen. You are a true phenomenal person. You are
Thank
phenomenal.
you.
Continue to do great. Continue to spread kindness. Continue to be the ripple. I think that that's one of the most amazing things that you could ever possibly do. Thank you for sharing space with us today, Karen. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
everyone.
You're
Thank
welcome.